Hello everyone, welcome to a new video for Bitcoin price prediction based on Elliott Wave analysis. This is a deep analysis that I offer once every week on this channel, where we dive deeply in every possible scenario between bullish and bearish, and of course evaluating the highest and the lowest possibility for the upcoming week. And I want to thank you all one by one for your support for this channel, for your likes and kind comments. Always, it means, of course, a lot for me. Thank you all. And let's start, of course, here with our monthly chart. Actually, before we come to the possibilities, it is very important to reanalyze where are we in the term of the cycle. So if we have our study here, of course, I have many updates here for our study where we dive deeply in the whole cycles of Bitcoin. And looking at this cycle chart here, we can see that every 4 years we have made, of course, a high for Bitcoin. And from this high, of course, we dive deeply and start a new uptrend every time, as we can see here, and repeating there, and then moving down, of course, and up, and then, of course, down. And now, currently in this cycle, we are almost in the middle of this uptrend, where we want to finish, of course, one more wave, as we are looking at 5 waves towards the upside, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we want to finish a wave at 5. Now, of course, that is a bullish and bearish scenario, of course, even on the monthly, where we can, of course, have some possibilities between both. So your highest possibility, of course, is for the bullish, where of course you want to still look for a wave 5 towards the upside to finish this impulse here with 5 waves. As we did, of course, for every cycle, we saw 5 waves towards the upside, as you can see as well here, and now, of course, the same is repeating. Between each 5 waves, we are looking to 3 waves correction, always, A, B, and a C, where it has corrected this previous cycle for each 4 years. Now, the bearish scenario for your monthly could be that you have finished a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5 in 3 cycles already, and this cycle is a bigger correction for all the previous cycles, where you want to see a drop, of course, for a wave C, where you are looking for 3 waves down and 3 waves up, and possibly a wave C towards the downside, or possibly even as a W, X, and Y. Your wave Y, of course, want to reach around the 1 or the maximum fib level around the 22,200 for a wave Y, possibly. Because it is a little bit hard now to get a wave C in 5 waves, and therefore here goes the possibility much higher, of course, for bullish scenario, where you want to finish even at least as well closing this gap for our parabolic curve. And after this, we are looking, of course, for a retracement around the 0.23 and 0.38, as the same for every single cycle that we see before. And if our retracement says that it could be around these fib levels just by hitting around the 100K, therefore you are expecting, of course, over than 100K, and it is very possible that we might even go with a higher extended wave towards the upside. In a more bullish scenario, you are looking possibly to a wave 1, 2, 1, 2, and then 1, 2 once again. And that because we have hit the 0.38 for every single cycle, which is not really looking like a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5, but rather it is much more looking as triple 1, 2s here. So it is also very, very possible that we might go higher. Of course, I mean, as I mentioned always, I'm not a moon boy, and I try always to be realistic. However, the minimum wave 5 here might be over 100K. This is the minimum target. And yeah, it is very, very possible that we go higher, of course, for a wave 3 here, and then for 5. Very possible. However, we're gonna see how this curve is gonna hold or play as a resistance there. Maybe we hit this curve, then we hit the 0.23 and then move up again, or possibly go with a bigger correction this time, hitting lower than these fib levels, and of course breaking the repetition of these other cycles. So this is it for the monthly study. We're gonna see how the things are gonna unfold. However, your wave 5, at least touching this curve, is the highest possibility, where we want to hit almost 120,000 for Bitcoin. Now, moving to the weekly. In our weekly here, we can see that, of course, we are very close as well to this target as a wave 5, where you have a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5. You have finished 5 waves for your wave 1, A, B, C for your wave 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for your wave 3. And of course, here you have an A, B, and a C, very sharp wave C. And then possibly we are looking to a formation, bullish formation, with several patterns here, which we're gonna study in our possibilities on the daily chart. However, what I would like to mention here, of course, is our weekly pattern that we have drawn or inspired by our wave 1 here. And if we take it exactly as we draw it, we can see that the wave 1 has unfolded perfectly with it. However, your wave 3 is still a little bit late, but yeah, it's not a big deal. It can already go directly towards the upside for a wave 3 as 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5, hitting, of course, this curve and finishing our wave 5 towards the upside. After this, I would like, of course, to show you some channels here on the daily chart, where we have, of course, draw a channel. This is very, very important to see as channeling, of course, with Elliott Wave studies, because the channeling is the next part after finishing your counting here. It is very important, of course, to see how it is unfolding. Now, in our channels here, the base channel taken, of course, from the start of this impulse to your wave 1 and then to your wave 2, you are looking, of course, for this wave 3 breaking the base channel perfectly, and even ranging on it, using it as a support, and of course confirming that this is a wave 3, because once we start to range outside and using it as a support once at least, that is a confirmation that this is your wave 3 here, and that you are in an impulse towards the upside. Your wave 4, of course, have dived inside this base channel as it should be, and we can see how it has started to play as a resistance in that case scenario. And we can see that your wave 4 is ranging inside this blue channel, the corrective channel, for a very long time, of course, as A, B, and a C. Now, after this, what you would like to see is a formation of a bullish scenario, where we are looking already to 1, 2, 1, 2, and possibly 3, 4, 5, and 4, 5. What you would like to see, of course, that is this wave 3 break your blue channel as a first step, claiming that the correction has ended. And by all means, if we break this blue channel, we are confirming already that a wave 3 might be on the way towards the upside. Your next confirmation would be, of course, or your 100% confirmation would be, of course, breaking this acceleration channel, which is, of course, taken from the wave 2 and your wave 1, and based on your wave 3, of course, as you can see here, based on this wave and, of course, laying on this wave 3 top, you can see that this would be your acceleration channel for your wave 5, where you would like to see after the break of this blue channel, you would like to see a break inside, of course, this acceleration channel, and that your wave 5 start, of course, to range on this channel to, of course, finally reach the target of your wave 5 in 5 waves. And by all means, you want to see a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3 breaking this channel, moving at least to the midline of it, and then 4, 5, and then using the midline again as a 4, 5, and finishing this impulse towards the upside around the 100K as expected. So this is the channeling for the daily chart. If we move now to the possibilities, which is very important to talk about it. Of course, you can see here we have some new layout for our possibilities, and we are looking, of course, for the bullish and the bearish one. And I found it that it would be very, very helpful to lay it as well as labels here for every single one, so we understand and we see much better how these possibilities works together. So starting with the bullish scenarios, where we want to go for a wave 5 as 100K or over 100K. This is our target here. Of course, we are looking, as we said before, to break these channels and even goes higher directly from here. And of course, by all means, you want to break at least the 74,288, because this is your last strong resistance, where you might, of course, have in this diagonal, which where we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5. Once we break this level, of course, that is a 100% confirmation that you are, of course, in a scenario for over 100K towards the upside. Therefore, you have to consider from a 74,300, we are 80% going to 100,000 from there. This is a very huge opportunity, of course, buying opportunities from such a level and expectation of a 100K. It is, of course, a massive and a huge profit that you can do from this scenario if it works. So in your wave 1 as diagonal, we are looking, of course, here at 5 waves towards the upside. As explained before, we have already hit the first target, the first common target for a diagonal, which is at 67,914. And once we have hit this target here, of course, we are looking, of course, to possibly retest the higher target, maybe at 0.78 at 70,650 almost. If we break this, you still have one last resistance, which is at the 1 fib level, and this level might, of course, be your more bullish scenario as well as a wave C in an expanding flat. And by all means, you have finished here an A, a B, and a C, and you are looking for A, B, and a C towards the upside, hitting almost this area, of course, for an expanding flat. And in this case scenario, you are a W and then X, and then you are looking for a wave Y in a bearish scenario, short-term bearish scenario for later on, which is a wave Y, of course, after a wave X here, possibly finished with this expanding flat. Now, of course, with these scenarios where we are looking for wave 1 here and an expanding flat, finished expanding flat, and another scenario which it could be a multiple 1, 2, 1, 2, and possibly a triple 1, 2 here, and then you want to move down a little bit and continuation towards the upside, of course. This might be, of course, your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for your main wave 3. So we're talking here about 3 over 3 over 3, right? Because you have 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And yeah, in that case scenario, you want still to see a little bit lower prices and then move towards the upside. So as you can see with these 3 bullish scenarios, where we see here a wave 1 diagonal potentially finished, or triple 1-2s here also possibly finished, and the wave C expanding flat, well, still need to get this high here, of course, to call it as an expanding flat. Otherwise it's gonna turn into a running flat, and running flat of course means as well continuation towards the downside, because of course it means a reversal in this case scenario. So by all means, with those 3 scenarios here, you want to now look for lower prices, where you are looking, of course, if you are wave 1 here as a diagonal, you have finished your wave 1 in 5 waves, you are looking for 3 waves towards the downside to hit your wave 2, of course, after a diagonal here as a wave 1. And this is your, of course, a bearish scenario, which it has the highest possibility between the bearish scenario, but it's not between bearish and bullish. I'm talking here only about the bearish scenarios, that it has the highest possibilities, right? So again, if you have a triple 1-2, you want to see a smaller 1-2 here, because you already got your 1-2 here, 1-2, and you are looking for more smaller 1-2 and then continuation towards the upside. So therefore, yeah, possible as well to get a little bit lower prices. In that case scenario, you want to hit the fib levels, at least 0.38 fib level, and then continuation towards the upside. In case that you are, of course, in a wave C flat, this is your biggest bearish scenario, or a running flat. Both works with the same scenario after, where you want to seek for 1 more wave towards the downside, hitting, of course, your wave Y, because, of course, to finish your WXY. Your WXY, of course, is a 3 structures, which is a complex correction, where you are looking for ABC, and then ABC as running flat, or as an expanding flat until the 1-to-1 fib level. In this scenario, of course, you want to seek for 1 more wave towards the downside as well, finishing this structure in a zigzag for a wave Y. In this fib level is given, of course, in this box, which are the most common for your wave Y. And by all means, now these are our scenarios. As you can see, we have almost finished 3 scenarios, bullish scenarios here, which give us somehow a signal that this is a very, very critical point where we might start to see some reversal towards the downside, possibly. And that is only 1 scenario, or even 2 scenarios still, that it might give us a little bit higher prices. And these scenarios are your expanding flat, where your wave 5 wants to reach higher prices a little bit and then move down, or whether you are in already an over 100K scenario and you are looking already at 1-2, 1-2, and you are looking, of course, for a wave 3 towards the upside, breaking this level decisively and directly, and of course moving to the 100K. Therefore, for the next week is to watch. It is a very critical point, and it will give us a decision what scenario is, of course, much more higher. If we see, of course, a drop lower than this 67,900, of course, it might be a confirmation that we have topped almost. It might be, of course, a shallow retracement, and then for your triple 1-2, and then continuation towards the upside. We're gonna see how much this drop, in case it happened, how much volatile and how much deep it will be as an impulse. If your impulse is small, therefore we can say, okay, it's gonna be ABC possibly, and then move towards the upside. If your impulse is a very sharp, one impulse like this, and then of course that might give us much more a clue that we are in a wave 1 here, and we are looking for a wave 2 towards the upside, to a wave 2 towards the downside, and then looking towards the upside. Now be careful, it's still very, very critical, because if we get one more wave down after it, it might transform to a bigger impulse, right? And then it gives us one leg already for a zigzag, and by all means it tells us, okay, you are in a running flat, and this was the first leg of your zigzag, and then correction, and then zigzag to hit those fib levels, of course, and then of course continuation towards the upside. This is your bearish scenario, and of course we are expecting to move towards the upside very late in the 2025 in this case scenario. Yeah, so these are the possibilities for our daily chart. And if we look now closer inside our 1 hour chart in this area, we want to check what is going on in this chart here. So on the 1 hour chart bullish scenario, we are looking, of course, almost to a finished impulse towards the upside. I mean, it's not really an impulse, it is a contracting diagonal, because when we lay our channels here as our base channel taken from the wave 1 and based on the wave 2, you can see that the wave 3 did not broke decisively this channel. It has tried to do it, but it went back inside it directly. However, it did not turn into ABC, because yesterday we saw higher prices finishing this wave 5 towards the upside, which is perfect to see. However, today and yesterday, sorry, I mentioned that once we break this channel, given of course was given inside the wave 5, once we break it, that means of course we might be in an impulse for a wave 5, but that was not really the case. It might be, of course, that we have finished now 5 waves down, and as you can see now, we have broken outside the main channel, of course, for this 5 waves. So potentially we might range for now for the weekend, but potentially, as we said in the daily, it is very possible to have a small drop down or even a bigger one. It depends on how much this impulse sharp is gonna be. However, for this weekend, of course, we're gonna range. We're gonna read the range until the Sunday and have more data to see what's gonna happen. However, the possibilities are 50-50 for now, if we get continuation or not. Potentially now we are forming an ABC or even an impulse. Nobody knows, because this looks like impulsive. So it can work as a zigzag ABC or as a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5. Okay. Therefore, we have to check. It is a little bit hard to get even an impulse, by the way, for now, for the Sunday. It can be a diagonal, it can be anything else, but we're gonna see what's gonna happen. Possibly that we see continuation after ABC and then move up for a wave 3 later on, that it can re-enter this channel and then of course or range around it. So we're gonna see how the things are gonna unfold, of course, on the 1 hour chart later on. So basically this is it for Bitcoin, and this is your deep analysis. It is very important, of course, to rely on it for the next week, the upcoming week, in every analysis that we do, because we have our possibilities here that we have talked about. Very, very important to go back to it. So that's it for Bitcoin. Your highest possibility, of course, is still not clear, but basically we have finished many scenarios right here as bullish, and of course we have as well many scenarios that it might unfold for the next week as bearish. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your likes and comments. See you in the next one. Bye bye.